Let me give you guys the top 5 loadouts in Warzone 3 right now. These are all meta and very easy to use, so I'm going to start out with the long range meta. So first, I'm going to give you guys the long range meta and short range meta. These things are the Pulemyot 762 and the WSP Swarm. So for the Pulemyot 762, throw on the BT7 Fire Suppressor L for being undetectable by radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. Throw on the Jack Annihilator long barrel for bullet velocity and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed, aiming out of sway. Throw on the Brune heavy support grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. Throw on the Choreo Eagle's Eye 2.5 times. This is my personal preference though. If you don't want to use this, then you actually can use one of the regular optics. Like if you want to use aim out B4, then you can. If you want to use Mark III reflector, niter, whatever, just because there is some sort of weird glitch going on right now where even if you do put on the Eagle's Eye 2.5 times, you don't get as much as a zoom. It's kind of weird. And the last thing is you need to make sure you have the aftermarkets part, the Jack Annihilator bullpup kit for mobility and handling, rate of fire, hip fire attack, stance spread, and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control, bullet velocity and range, damage range, and weapon swap speed. I can honestly say this is one of the easiest classes to actually use. It doesn't take any effort at all. Like, truth be told, anybody can actually use this, and if you have a hard time with this, I have some bad news for you. You probably should not play Warzone 3. It's a very simple and easy weapon to use, and it's very powerful. So genuinely, this is probably the best long-range setup overall. I don't recommend anything over it. So just to show you guys the actual class setup right now, this is the class setup right here. If you guys want to copy it down, screenshot it, take a picture, this is the best time to actually do that. And if you made it this far in the video, comment meta for some COD points. So first thing for the WSP Swarm, throw on the L4R flash hider for muzzle flash concealment, recoil control, and gun kick control at the cost of aim down sight speed. Throw on the WSP Reckless 90 long barrel for bullet velocity and range, aiming out of sway, gun kick control, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip fire attack, stance spread, aim walking speed, and sprint to fire speed. Throw on the Brune heavy support grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. 100 round drum, because despite what people say, if you're using the 50 round mag when you can use 100 and you have the same amount of cons, it's just not worth it to use the 50. You might as well use the 100. In fact, I'll go more into detail. If you guys look at this, look at that. There's literally not much of a difference whatsoever. So you might as well actually use the 100. And last but not least, the FSS Rampage 7 Tactical for aim down sight speed, aiming out of sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim walking speed and movement speed. This is a very easy weapon to use. I do have an alternative if you guys don't want to be on the mini map. If you guys aren't comfortable with the flash hider, then I do have a silencer version. That'll be just for you guys. But just showing you guys, it's incredibly easy to actually use this weapon. But if you guys don't want to use the L4R flash hider, all you guys have to do is go back to the beginning, and there is either the Hemres mod suppressor if you guys just want to go with bullet velocity, or the monolithic suppressor if you guys want more recoil control. I think this has decent bullet velocity already. If you guys wanted to go with this as well, I mean, it gives bullet velocity and damage range, might be a better idea than just the recoil control option. But if you guys want more recoil control, the monolithic suppressor S would be an optimal choice. As you guys see, it basically functions the same as the L4R flash hider. Now, in my opinion, I think the L4R is a little bit better, but like I said, if you guys want to stay off the minimap, then this is the right choice for you. And this is the entire class setup right here. But like I said before, I most likely, if I'm going to be playing Warzone, I'm going to be using the L4R flash hider. So this is the best WSP Swarm class setup, so feel free to take a screenshot. Don't use a conversion kit because you'll do terrible. The BAS-B is the best battle rifle. I wanted to call it an assault rifle, but someone told me to remember not to call it an assault rifle because it's technically not. So start out with the BT7 Fire Suppressor L for being undetectable by radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. Throw on the Brune Venom long barrel for bullet velocity and range, recoil control, aiming out of sway, and gun kick control at the cost of sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and sprint speed. Throw on the Brune heavy support grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. 45 round mag because you can't go any higher, otherwise I most certainly would. And last but not least, the Choreo Eagle's Eye 2.5 times. You guys can use anything that you want to, but this is the preference. This is what I think would do the best for you. This is a fantastic weapon to actually use. In my opinion, it's not that hard to actually use, short, medium, and long range. Now, the only downside is if you guys don't want to use this version, if you guys think there's too much recoil, instead of using the VT7 Fire Suppressor L, which I really highly recommend because of all the pros, then you can swap all the way over here. You can use the L4R flash hider instead, but it does give you the same amount of pros. Otherwise, if you don't want to use that, you can use the Sakin, which actually gives you the same amount of, well, similar amount of pros. If you don't want to use that, you can use the Lockshot KT85, which gives you a massive vertical recoil boost and horizontal recoil control. There's a whole lot of things you can do. You can use the TYLR8, but I don't really think that's optimal. The best choice would probably be the Lockshot KT85, but just show you guys the difference. This is what it would actually look like. So it still feels kind of the same, but in my opinion, it does give you a little bit more recoil control. It's just a matter of personal preference, whatever you guys actually want to use. But for me overall, I'm most likely just going to stick with the Spirit Fire Suppressor L. There actually is one more choice if you guys don't want to stick with those, and that is the Stir Sky Fury Compensator L, which does increase recoil control by 3, but I think that the other choices are just more optimal if you were to switch out the suppressor. But overall, like I said, with that being said, stick with the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor L and you will have a good job in Warzone 3. This is the best class right here, so feel free to take a screenshot. Next is the best overall SMG in the game, which is the WSP-9. Throw on the Sonic Suppressor S for being undetectable by radar, bullet velocity and damage range at the cost of aim, walking, steadiness, sprint to fire speed, and recoil control. Throw on the WASP Reckless 90 long barrel for bullet velocity and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed. Throw on the 50 round mag. I mean, the only downside is there are more cons than if you use the 40. If you feel more comfortable with 40, feel free. I can only say that 50 is my preference because you can have as many bullets as possible, but technically I feel like the better meta option would be 40, so whatever you want to do, feel free. Marauder grip for gun kick control, firing aim stability, and recoil control at the cost of aiming out of sway. If you guys don't want to use the Marauder grip, feel free to use the Bruin heavy support grip, but it does reduce vertical recoil, so most likely you would actually use the Kimura Rin 03 vertical grip. And last but not least, the Mark III reflector. This is my personal preference, so if you don't want to use the sight, then you can use anything else. And the end product is this beautiful SMG that honestly gets the job done very easily at short and medium range. I'm kind of scared to do the long range test. Like, it just probably won't get the job done very easy. So it takes a couple bullets, but sometimes it bounces way too much. So you just have to weigh your options. And if it does good, it does good. If it does bad, then I mean, you know why. It's just a little bit of recoil. But this is the entire class setup right here, so feel free to take a screenshot if you want to. And now for, in my opinion, the best assault rifle in the game, the Ram 7. Start with the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor for being undetectable by radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. Throw on the Bruin heavy support grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. 60 round drum, and in my opinion, this is the best choice just because you go through bullets very quickly. 40 is not optimal, even though these have more cons. I just think that you need 60 because you're going to be shooting a whole lot. Corio Eagle's Eye 2.5 times. Now, obviously, it's a personal preference. If you want to use the iron sights, feel free and just throw something else on. And last but not least, the HVS 3.4 pad for gun kick control and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, sprint speed, and movement speed. This weapon is actually pretty easy to use. Now, I don't know if they're eventually going to nerf this weapon, but right now, it doesn't have much recoil. It's very easy, very fun, and the TTK is fantastic. So this is something I would highly recommend throwing on, easily using, and easily getting the job done in Warzone 3. So if you guys want to copy the class setup, here it is. But if you guys aren't happy with this class setup right here, I still do have an alternative, and it'll be very easy for you guys. So instead of using the Corio Eagle's Eye 2.5 times, if you guys are more so of iron sight type of person, all you guys have to do is take off the optic. So once you take off the optic, all you have to do is go to the rear grip, and there's this beautiful thing called the Retort 90 grip tape. The Retort 90 grip tape helps with firing aim stability, gun kick control, and recoil control at the cost of some aiming idle sway. Now, the beautiful thing about this, though, is the iron sight is fantastic. So when you go into the firing range, this is literally what it looks like. It literally looks like a laser. No effort whatsoever. Very, very easy to use. So if this is something that you actually want to use instead of the Corio Eagle's Eye, then you definitely can use that, and it'll be very simple. Like, it'll honestly be one of the best setups you can actually use. So with that being said, if you guys want this class setup, all you guys have to do is take a screenshot, and this is the top 5 best class setups in Warzone 3.